Dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for stories that will haunt your dreams and send shivers down your spine. Here at Tombstone, we delve into the darkest corners of the internet, unearthing chilling stories of the supernatural, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. From shadowy figures lurking in the night to sinister secrets buried deep in forgotten history, each episode is crafted to immerse you in a world of fear and fascination. Hit that subscribe button, join our community of thrill seekers, and embark on a journey where every whisper could be a warning and every shadow a threat. Are you ready to face your fears? Then let the story time begin. In the shadow of Mount Vesuvius, deep within the Earth's crust, an ancient force stirred. The time of the rapture had come, and with it, the forces of hell prepared to wage their final war against the divine. At the heart of this impending chaos was a formidable commander, a figure draped in shadows, commanding the loyalty of the fearsome demonic Goatman squad. The commander stood at the edge of a vast, molten lake, his piercing eyes reflecting the inferno that raged within the heart of Mount Vesuvius. His legion, a nightmarish horde of goatmen, awaited his command. Their muscles rippled with anticipation, their horns gleamed in the dim light, and their eyes burned with an insatiable hunger for destruction. "Rise, my warriors," the commander's voice echoed through the cavern. "Our time has come, the rapture is upon us, and we shall break free from these fiery chains. We march to the Mount of Megiddo, and we shall raise everything in our path." With a thunderous roar, the legion surged forward, breaking through the volcanic barriers that had held them captive for eons. The earth trembled and the sky darkened as they emerged, a wave of darkness spreading across the land. The break from Mount Vesuvius was a cataclysmic event. As the legion tore through the volcanic barriers, the volcano itself responded with a violent eruption. Lava spewed into the sky, raining down on the surrounding landscape. The air was thick with ash and smoke, choking out the light and casting the world in an eerie twilight. The commander led his legion through the chaos, their forms silhouetted against the fiery backdrop. Each step they took left a trail of molten rock, and their presence caused the very ground to tremble. The people of the nearby villages and towns looked on in horror as the army of darkness advanced. Homes were reduced to rubble, fields were set ablaze, and the screams of the innocent filled the air. The goatmen reveled in the destruction, their twisted faces alight with glee as they tore through the settlements. The commander watched with cold detachment, his mind focused solely on the mission ahead. The commander, whose name was Malachar, had been a general in Hell's armies for millennia. Standing tall and imposing, his form was covered in dark, spiked armor that seemed to absorb the very light around him. His eyes, glowing with an infernal fire, could pierce the soul of any who dared to meet his gaze. A mane of black hair, streaked with red, fell to his broad shoulders, giving him a wild and uncontainable appearance. Malachar's reputation for strategic brilliance and merciless efficiency had earned him the loyalty of the most fearsome warriors in Hell. The Goatman squad was his elite unit, known for their savage ferocity and unwavering loyalty. These creatures, half man and half goat, were the embodiment of raw, unrestrained power. Their eyes glowed with a hellish red, and their horns were sharp and menacing, capable of tearing through the strongest of armors. As they marched towards their ultimate destination, Malachar led his legion through more villages and towns, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. Nothing could withstand their onslaught. Homes were reduced to rubble, fields were set ablaze, and the screams of the innocent filled the air. But their path was not unchallenged. God's human armies, led by angels of light, stood in defiance. The commander's strategic genius and the ferocity of his legion ensured that they won battle after battle, though not without cost. Each skirmish left their numbers slightly diminished, their resolve tested. The first encounter with the divine forces was a brutal clash. The commander's legion met a contingent of human soldiers, their ranks bolstered by the presence of angels. The sight of the angels, their wings glowing with an ethereal light, was enough to give even the most hardened demon pause. But Malachar was unfazed. He raised his sword, its blade wreathed in dark flames, and charged into the fray. His legion followed, their war cries mingling with the sounds of battle. The ground was soon soaked with blood, both human and demonic, as the two forces clashed. The battles were fierce and unrelenting. Each encounter with God's armies was a test of Malachar's skill and strategy. He led his legion with precision, directing their movements with a keen eye for weakness. His tactics were ruthless, exploiting every advantage to ensure victory. In one battle, Malachar's forces faced a battalion of human soldiers, their armor gleaming in the sunlight. The angels leading them hovered above, their swords blazing with holy light. The commander's goatmen demons charged, their horns lowered and their claws ready to rend flesh. The clash was deafening, the sounds of metal on metal and the cries of the wounded filling the air. Malachar moved through the chaos with deadly grace, his sword cutting down any who dared to stand in his way. The angels tried to intervene, their powers clashing with his dark magic, but he was relentless. Victory after victory bolstered the morale of the legion. They grew bolder with each battle, their confidence in their commander unshakable. But the cost was high. Each skirmish left more of their number dead or wounded, and the toll of constant combat was beginning to show. As they drew closer to Mount Megiddo, whispers reached Malachar's ears. Whispers of a human with divine powers, a warrior of light who had been decimating Satan's legions with ease. This rumor was unlike any other. It carried with it a sense of urgency and dread that even the commander could not ignore. "Prepare yourselves," he warned his legion, "for we face an enemy unlike any other. Stay vigilant and let no one falter." We marched to victory. The journey continued, marked by relentless battles and the ever-looming threat of the divine human. Despite their weariness, Malachar's unwavering leadership kept the legion's spirits high. They reached the base of Mount Megiddo, tired but confident in their ability to secure a final victory. The air was thick with tension as the armies of hell and heaven faced each other on the battlefield. The ground shook with the force of their clashes, and the sky was lit by the divine and infernal energies unleashed in combat. Amidst the chaos, Malachar sought out the divine human, determined to end this threat once and for all. The battle at Mount Megiddo was the culmination of all the bloodshed and chaos that had preceded it. The armies of hell and heaven clashed with a ferocity that shook the very foundations of the earth. Malachar, at the forefront of his legion, sought out the divine human amidst the chaos. Their duel was a spectacle of raw power and skill. Malachar, with his dark sorcery and formidable strength, clashed against the divine human's holy light and unmatched prowess. The battle raged on, each strike and counterstrike shaking the very fabric of reality. The divine human, a man named Elias, was a figure of legend among the forces of light. His presence on the battlefield was like a beacon of hope, clad in radiant armor that seemed to shimmer with the essence of the heavens. His every movement was imbued with grace and power. His eyes, a piercing blue, shone with an inner light that could cut through the darkest of shadows. His sword, a gift from the archangels, blazed with holy fire, and in his other hand, he wielded a shield emblazoned with the symbols of the divine. Elias was not just a warrior. He was a symbol of divine retribution, a human chosen by the heavens to stand against the darkness. His origins were humble, a farmer's son who had been blessed by a divine vision. He had trained under the guidance of angels, his body and soul tempered into a weapon of light. His mere presence on the battlefield was enough to turn the tide, his faith and conviction inspiring those who fought beside him. The clash between Malachar and Elias was titanic. The ground beneath them cracked and shattered as their powers collided. Each blow from Malachar's dark blade was met with the radiant defiance of Elias's sword. Sparks of divine and infernal energy flew with each clash, lighting up the battlefield in a chaotic dance of light and darkness. Despite Malakar's immense power, Elias fought with a determination that seemed unbreakable. Every strike, every parry, was executed with precision and purpose. He moved with the fluidity of water and the fury of a storm, each motion a testament to his training and divine blessing. Malakar found himself pushed to his limits, his dark magic clashing against Elias's unwavering faith. In the end, it was Malakar who emerged victorious, but the toll was immense. His body bore the scars of the intense struggle, and his strength was greatly diminished. He stood over Elias's fallen form, his breath ragged and his heart heavy. The divine human lay defeated, his radiant armor cracked and his light dimmed, but his sacrifice had not been in vain. As Malakar looked up, he saw the extent of the devastation. His legion was wiped out, and most of Satan's army lay dead on the battlefield. The realization of their losses hit him hard, but the battle was over, and Malakar knew he had to retreat. The battlefield was a scene of utter devastation. The bodies of fallen demons and angels lay strewn across the ground, their blood mingling in the soil. Malakar stood amidst the carnage, his breath ragged and his body trembling with exhaustion. The victory had come at a great cost. His legion, once a fearsome force, was now reduced to a handful of survivors. The goatmen that had followed him so loyally were either dead or too injured to continue. The sight filled Malakar with a sense of loss and failure, but he knew he could not dwell on it. "We must retreat," he commanded, his voice hoarse but resolute. "We return to Hell to regroup and plan our next move. This battle is won, but the war is far from over." The remnants of his legion gathered around him, their expressions grim but determined. Together, they began the arduous journey back to the infernal realms, leaving the devastation of Mount Megiddo behind. The journey back to Hell was fraught with danger. The path they had carved through the mortal realm was now fraught with enemies seeking retribution. Malakar led his remaining forces with a careful eye, avoiding unnecessary confrontations and conserving their dwindling strength. As they descended into the infernal depths, the air grew hotter and the light dimmer. The familiar sights and sounds of Hell were both a comfort and a reminder of their defeat. Malakar knew that their return would not go unnoticed by the other denizens of the underworld. Upon reaching their citadel, Malakar immediately set about fortifying their defenses. He knew that their weakened state would make them vulnerable to attacks from rival demons seeking to usurp his position. His mind was a whirlwind of strategies and contingencies as he prepared for the inevitable challenges to his rule. Despite his weakened state, Malakar's cunning and ruthless nature ensured his rise to power in Hell. He quickly established himself as a formidable leader, quelling any dissent with a swift and decisive hand. His reputation for strategic brilliance and merciless efficiency grew, solidifying his position as the new ruler of Hell. He oversaw the rebuilding of their forces, recruiting new demons and forging alliances with powerful entities. His citadel became a fortress of dark power, a symbol of his unyielding authority. Malakar's focus was unwavering. He was determined to reclaim their strength and prepare for the next phase of their war against the divine. But the divine retribution was far from over. After Malakar's victory at Mount Megiddo, the heavens moved against Satan himself. The ancient adversary of God, the fallen angel who had instigated the rebellion in the heavens, was about to face his ultimate judgment. High above the celestial realms, in a place beyond mortal understanding, the throne of God shone with a light that no darkness could touch. Surrounding it were the ranks of archangels, their presence a testament to divine power and justice. In the center of this holy assembly stood Satan, bound in chains forged from the very essence of divine wrath. "Lucifer!" The voice of God echoed through the celestial court, a sound that resonated with the power of creation itself. "You who were once the brightest of my angels, you who chose rebellion over service, your time has come." Satan, once the most beautiful and powerful of all the angels, now stood humbled and defeated. His wings, once radiant, were tattered and scorched. His eyes, which had once shone with defiance, now glimmered with a mix of rage and despair. He had fought valiantly, but the divine power was insurmountable. For your defiance, for the countless souls led astray by your hand, for the suffering and chaos wrought by your rebellion, you shall face the ultimate punishment. With those words, a portal to the abyss opened beneath Satan's feet, a chasm of infinite darkness and torment. The fallen angel was cast into the abyss, his cries of anguish echoing through the celestial realms as the portal closed behind him, sealing him away for eternity. Back in hell, Malachar sensed the shift in power. The fall of Satan had left a void, and Malachar knew that his time to seize control was now. He rallied his forces, asserting his dominance over the infernal realms with an iron fist. His citadel, once a symbol of his strategic prowess, now became the throne from which he ruled hell. But even in his newfound position of power, Malachar was haunted by the memory of Elias and the divine retribution he had narrowly escaped. He fortified his citadel, surrounding himself with layers of protection, both magical and physical. He knew that the angels of heaven were relentless, and they would not rest until justice was served. Believing himself safe in his citadel, Malachar sought to rebuild his strength and consolidate his rule. However, God's angels, relentless in their pursuit of justice, were not far behind. They infiltrated his fortress, their divine light piercing through the darkness. In a final confrontation, Malachar faced the angels. Despite his formidable powers, he was overwhelmed by their relentless assault. Thinking he was secure in his citadel proved to be his ultimate mistake. The angels, empowered by divine justice, ended his reign, bringing a decisive end to the commander of Satan's army. The commander's fall marked a significant blow to the forces of hell, a testament to the unyielding power of the divine. The rapture continued, but the legacy of Malachar's defiance and the epic battles he fought would be remembered throughout the ages. The tale of the commander's rise and fall became a legend, a story told to both inspire and caution those who dared to challenge the divine order. His name was etched into the annals of history as a symbol of both unparalleled power and the inevitable downfall that comes with defying the will of the heavens. As the darkness claimed Malachar's soul, he realized too late the futility of his defiance. His citadel, once a bastion of his power, now stood as a tomb, a monument to his hubris and the ultimate triumph of divine justice. The echoes of his final screams resonated through the infernal realms, a grim reminder of the price of rebellion. And so, the celestial balance was restored. The forces of light stood victorious, their divine justice reigning supreme over the infernal realms. The rapture continued, a time of great tribulation and redemption, as the souls of the righteous were gathered and the wicked were cast into eternal darkness. The story of Malachar and the divine human, Elias, was passed down through generations. It served as a reminder of the eternal struggle between good and evil, light and darkness. The names of the fallen and the victorious were etched into the collective memory of all beings, a testament to the enduring power of faith, courage, and divine justice.